because I know that some coaches are going to use this as a little power pocket. So tonight or today is not going to be a full power hour just because it's a Saturday morning and I want you to like really just feel productive right off the bat. So we're just doing 30 minutes together. And what I want to talk to you about first is a value added post. And so the goal for you for this morning is to create a value added post. And here's what I mean by this. The other day, what was it, last Thursday or so, when Instagram and Facebook went down, what day was that? I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday of last week. All of a sudden, everyone really panicked because the whole day, we couldn't work our business. We couldn't be on social media. We couldn't be posting. We couldn't be sending messages. And it freaked a lot of people out. But I think what it should have done is really help you realize the importance of having an email list and having one that you add to all the time. So your new goal in life right now when you are connecting with your clients is to get their email address right away. So like step one, say they act like they're interested in something. Awesome. Do you have an email address where I can send more info to? Because what's going to happen from there is you can put them in your pipeline. And that means that, I mean, this is a double, this means two things. Number one, you're going to put them in the pipeline. And they may or may not become a client right now. But number two, this means it's time to think about how can I make my newsletters better, or how can I utilize my email list? Because it's one thing to collect an email address, but it's another if you don't do anything with it. And so what I want you to do this morning is I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and I want you to truly sit down and think for a second and ask yourself, what can I do this morning that creates a value added post? So meaning that I'm going to put something up. So I'm going to use one of Kate's type of post for an example. So Kate loves to bake. Typically her recipes get her tons of traction. So here would be what I would suggest. I would give a recipe today, maybe a breakfast recipe, and I would say, drop your email address if you want it, or drop an emoji, and I would just jump right to the email address. Facebook, not so much, but I would do it on Instagram or on IG stories, put the question box and ask for that email address. But regardless how you want to do it, give them something. But when you give, I want you to ask for something in return. So you're going to give them a healthy recipe, or you're going to give them your meal plan, or you're going to give them something that you've created, but then I want you to ask in return, okay? And when you ask in return, here's what you're going to do. You're going to send them that recipe, or you're going to send them the meal plan, but you're going to also send them info on Ultimate Portion Fix. Okay, so make sure that the content that you make this morning makes sense, that would allow you or align you to send Ultimate Portion Fix info with it. Okay, so 5 minutes right now, I'm going to stop my camera and I want you to decide, what does this look like? Okay, and then we'll chat for a quick second. If you already know what you're posting, you can put it in the chat section, but I just want you to brainstorm for a minute. So I'm gonna unmute and share with you guys something that I found I got a lot of engagement with last week on my stories. So as I was learning the content from, the video modules, I would share some of it and I would share snippets just long enough for them to hear things that I knew were actually objections or things that I've heard in the past. So for example, right now for my season, I'm very pregnant and I'm going to be postpartum. And I have a lot of people following me who are in the same boat. So I intentionally played the video that talked about postpartum and how women can still do this. And I put a question box along with it. Meaning, so the first one, I played two snippets of it. In the first snippet, I put in a section where it basically said, I'm pregnant or I'm postpartum. So that's where I was filtering to see where are my people who are following who are in the same boat as me. And then on the next slide, this is using stories, by the way. On the next slide, then I put the question box asking for an email address if they'd like more info. And then from there, again, I sent them my info, that Google Doc basically that I had on Ultimate Portion Fix. So I want you to think about something that you're struggling with or that you know that you hear as an objection often. And I want you to share parts of the training that cover that particular piece. So if you haven't been doing that yet on social media, go for it. The other day I think it was Melissa, she posted one of the printables about the kids' nutrition. And it's an awesome printable. It's like a little chart for them with eating their veggies and whatnot. And she shared that. And I saw that people were interested in that. So just feel out your market, but share the pieces you know that people really do need and would be interested in. I am still finding that the more I talk about it, it's getting better, but people still think this is just the container system. So you have to show them, look what you get. Like there is videos, there is a training. This is not just, hey, we're going to do containers. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do right now, as far as action goes, is I want you to do some follow-ups right now with urgency. And what I mean by that is you are going to send a message to anyone who was interested. Could be through Facebook, through Instagram, whatever. And I want you to actually have urgency in it. I want you to say exactly this. I wouldn't say their name. I would make one voice message. Okay. And then with voice messaging, you can send it to everybody, at least through Facebook. You can forward it. Instagram, you might need to just make a video. I would do that. I would make a video of you saying something and then send that video to everyone who expressed interest. If you're utilizing your email list, then that's where you go in and do, I use Streak. So last night it was really easy. I just pulled up everyone who was interested in Ultimate Portion Fix. I clicked the box, I did a mail merge, and I messaged all of them. And I shared what I wrote last night in the team page. But what I want you to do is I want you to say to them, hey there, I'm still hoping to get for a chance to work with you for this Ultimate Portion Fix. You may or may not realize it, but last week we completed our preseason. You're not missing out on anything. We can still catch you up. You have time. But we are going to be launching our official first week starting on Monday. Were you wanting to be a part of this group, or are you going to be waiting for round 2? It's not, are you not interested? I didn't ask that. I said, are you waiting for round 2? Okay. So right now, give yourself about 5 minutes and get started on this piece. Right, so we have a couple things in the chat section if you want to check those out. But Kate was asking a really good question. She said, do you think it would be a good idea to do like a IG Live or an upload where you basically are showing them all the good stuff? Absolutely. The more you can show them what's going to be put in their hands, the better. And I find that just doing it once isn't going to be enough. So all the opportunities, this weekend as you're meal prepping, get out your cookbooks that if you're using Fixate 2 recipes, like show them the goods. Because again, I don't think that they all understand what it is that they're getting, or at least they haven't seen it enough. So anyways, that's something to think about. Now, for number 3 of our action items, so we have 15 more minutes left, and I have 2 more action items. So I want to move forward with that. And here's what I want to do. First, I want to know if you can put in the chat section, how many of you have a pipeline full of people who you need to convert, meaning that you have had a lot of interest in Ultimate Portion Fix, but they haven't pulled the trigger. Like, where do you stand from your clients? Is it that you haven't had anyone interested yet? It's that they haven't converted. Maybe you sent the link. Like, where are you as far as your pipeline goes in regards to closing the sale? Can you guys put that in the chat? I'm just curious, just for myself, I'd love to know where you guys are. I'm finding it's really easy to get emails and collect information, but the conversion piece is that's the most work. It's the follow-up. Okay, the mom and daughter that you've had, have those been your challenge pack points for the month so far? These are just people who are interested. Okay. When you did emails, you lost people. I remember that. Yeah. So maybe some of that could be too, Kate, is that you probably at that point weren't using your email list a ton. Like maybe it was one newsletter that went out once a month. Is that the case?
I wasn't using it like newsletters at all. I was just using Google Streak and Snippets.
Yeah.
Because it was summertime, so it was fairly new.
Yeah. So that could have something to do with it, is that they, they'll give you their email because they're interested, but it takes a lot, it takes more value for them to want to convert. So that could be it. I would just maybe work on making that a goal that you give value to those email lists and you treat them like they're gold, and eventually, they will become customers. I'm going to read them. Okay, so Christina said, I've only had 5 people express interest. Let's see here. Melissa said, all my combos last week were from people from my nutrition group I ran. I offered them a challenge pack too. Mindset our Ultimate Portion Fix. That's awesome. The mega pack is sweet. No one has responded to follow-ups. Okay. All right. Yeah. Hey, Melissa, how did that go? Do you feel like for someone who's maybe struggling to get people to be interested, do you feel like it was a good idea to do a nutrition group? I assume you did a free group. I don't know. She may not be able to talk, but yeah, she says, yes, it was great. Okay. So if you're struggling and you've got 0 people interested, that might be something to think about of how can I maybe do this? Like a 5 free clean eating group, like a 5-day clean eating group or meal planning group, or even, guys, get smart about this. Do a healthy kids series. Do a 5-day or a 3-day healthy kids series and use some of the stuff from Ultimate Portion Fix. And don't use all of it, but give it a teaser and let them know that if they want the rest, they can join you for this group. Let's see.
I was thinking for Family Fix and do a kid-friendly group. I think that Family Fix is my favorite part.
Yeah, so I think that would be an awesome way to really fill that pipeline. And again, adding value, but showing them, hey, there's more to this. You didn't get it all. That's what's going to be important. When you run these, if you're going to take the effort, because free groups are a lot of work sometimes, you have to show them that there's something else that they would want or need. Otherwise, they're like, nope, I'm good. I got what you were giving. Okay, so make sure that you guys are good about that if you run the free groups. So for those of you who are hearing crickets, or you're just feeling every time I send an invite, I don't get anywhere. And so that would be where I would suggest really work on, are you giving value or are you just inviting? So is it that you know, when you send them more info on Ultimate Portion Fix, did you just blast them with like a spammy sales email? Or did you just send them like, here's what it costs, here's what it is? Or did you really take time to say like, okay, why don't you fill out this interest survey so I can get to know you better and learn more about, you know, your why or what you're struggling with. Here's the info. And then did you want to copy my meal plan too? You know, like really make it like a give and take relationship, because if it's just take, where I just want your email, I just want you to buy this, it's gonna not go as well as if you can make it more of a giving relationship. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, let's go on. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to really think about your challengers. So this is for those of you who have established challengers from the past or right now or whatnot. And I want you to say, who is not so good at nutrition? And you know who they are. You know when you reach out to them and you're like, how's it going? They're like, yeah, I'm not hitting my goals, or I don't need those meal plans. You know who they are. I want you to think of those people. Maybe it's 5 people, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 10, depending on how long you've been doing it. And I want you to send them a specific message. I did this yesterday with a couple, and I said, hey, I know that you're like on the fence about Ultimate Portion Fix. Here's what I want you to know. I've been doing this for 5 years, and I am literally learning a ton from this. I'm taking notes like crazy, and I'm learning new content. For what it's worth the investment. I think you would enjoy it because XYZ. And so it's more personal then. And honestly, I am being personal with it. I'm not just sending that same message to 10 people who sucked at meal planning. Like, I'm looking at my clients and I'm thinking about them and saying, where did they struggle? You know, what was it? Was it emotional eating? Was it sugar addiction? What was it? And I'm going to show them exactly where in Ultimate Portion Fix it can help them. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to just like take a second, and I want you to make a list of whoever you feel like needs this. Okay, so do that right now. And then after this call, or you can get started with it now, I want you to send them a personal message and let them know why they should consider doing this one with you. All right, so for time's sake, because I want to make sure that we keep this to a half an hour, I just want to wrap up with like the last task. And again, this is a task that you're going to do throughout this coming week. So on Sundays, you know that it's super important to go ahead and do your planning. So what are you going to post about? What are you going to go live about? Like, it's a real structured system so that you're not just throwing spaghetti on the wall hoping to post about something. So this Sunday or today, whenever you decide to do it, I want you to sit down and ask yourself, okay, what are 3 ultimate portion fix topics that I know are something that's going to draw engagement? And then I want you to go live 2 to 3 times this week on those topics. Okay, so pick out 2 or 3 different ones. So this isn't you doing the same thing over and over. This is you picking out 2 or 3 topics. And then I want you to plan out your lives. And I want you to do it either on Facebook Live or Instagram Live. If it's something that's like a value thing that you could pass on, put it on IGTV so that you have it as like an ongoing long-term resource, okay? One of the things that you may want to do is just like do your own Fix It cooking show, right? Like go live, show them how you're making Gabe's corn dogs or whatever it is that you're picking from the Fix. Like don't overcomplicate this. Even just like showing them how you do the meal planning. Like for most of you, did you guys watch the video where Autumn talks about how if you're going to use a recipe, plan that first, right? So maybe it's dinner. You went down. Go look for it. But anyways, like tell them that. Like some people don't know that. They don't understand how to do that. So whatever tips that you can share, that would be probably the best use of going live. If you have any ideas right now, if you're like, oh, I know I'm going to do it on this, put it in the chat real quick and I'll just say it out loud for those who are going to catch the recording. If I'll give you a second. I think for me, it's going to be explaining the pregnancy calculation. I won't give the exact numbers away because then then they don't need me, right? But I will kind of go over that sheet and I'll talk to them about how there's the difference between pregnancy, postpartum, working out, not working out, breastfeeding, all those things. Let's see, anybody else? How many of you still feel like going live is a weakness for you? You don't do it enough or you don't love doing it? Yeah. It's really a good chance, though. It's how they get to know you better. And again, it's how you build the relationship a lot quicker. All right, I'm going to watch your chat just for a second and see. So she said, Brittany posted a great thing about sugar intake with interactive polls. She sent them to you. I saw them yesterday, and I was going to message her and say that. They were really fun. Yeah. So it was basically, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, it was a comparison, and it was like playing a game. You had to guess which one had more sugar, like was it the muffin or the M&Ms or the Oreos or whatever. And I assume, what did she send them from there, Kate? Did she send them info on Ultimate Portion Fix?
I'm not sure. I would assume so.
Yeah.
Because the last poll she did talked about how they can jump in the group right now.
Okay.
So
it would make sense. So somehow finding a way to say, hey, I saw you played the game. How many of you, or were you surprised about some of those answers, or just starting a conversation with them, basically? Okay.
I'm just afraid people are going to be like, well, then I'll just eat the M&Ms or I'll just drink the soda.
I know. Tell them they'll learn why they shouldn't do that in the group, huh? Okay. So I want you guys to do that when you get off. I want you to plan that, 2 or 3 times this week, you're going to go live and you're going to truly add value, but you're going to teach a little bit because you need to be seen as a resource to these people who are following you that you really can help them. Let's do a quick photo. Christina, if you're up, we'd love to see you. If you're not, it's okay. I understand. There you are. Good morning. So let's take a quick picture. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. See, I think it's okay. Yep, it's good. All right, I will post it and I will see you guys soon. Have an awesome day. Thanks for getting on. See ya.